You're good, man.
All right.
Buddy.
What is this
My
shit?
dog's over here, dude. Just trying to get some love.
Hold on.
I shit so much.
You what?
My dog sheds way too much, dude.
Okay.
Well, he's in front of me and he's over here.
Dude, my dog turned 17 on Christmas.
Jesus, dude. Dad just turned 5.
Yeah, dude. We've had Oscar since... We've had Oscar since... I remember holding Oscar, watching on the news that the U.S. was invading Iraq.
That's crazy.
Hey, now he's alive for Iran.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, man. So apparently...
He's alive for it all.
Yeah, apparently it's World War III now, Ernie.
You know what? I hope not.
Yeah, me too. How old are you? I'm 29.
29?
Yeah.
29?
Yeah, we can't be drafted.
We can't anymore?
Nope. It stops at 26 with exceptions to 28.
All right. Well, great. We'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take it. We'll take the win.
That's the only good thing about getting old, I guess.
Yeah, my friend David texted me last night. He was like, "Can we get drafted?" And I was like, no. He told me, he was like, "I think we're too old." And I was like, "Oh, you're right." And I was like, all right, fuck it. I was like, all right, let's see what happens. I don't care.
That's what you want, man. That's
Yeah.
what it's all about.
Yeah.
No, I actually didn't. I didn't realize. I don't know why I thought it was till 30. But no, it's crazy. And apparently, we just striked again last night. Another facility in Iraq.
Jesus Christ. Well,
and I don't know what the game plan is, but
neither do I. So for all 13 subscribers I have, but for future reference, what's today? What's today? The 4th? Yeah, today's my dad's birthday. 4th, January 4, 2020. This is my buddy Ernesto Azejo. I know him from Valdosta, and I love Ernie. And I initially commented on Ernie's Facebook status because Ernie and I are on pretty opposite ends of the political spectrum, but he and I are doing something similar in that I noticed, he hadn't seen, but I had been posting shit on Reddit, but he was posting stuff on Facebook, but it was just kind of like this whole, what do we, it gets gotten to a point where the tribalism has gone so far that it's, like you said, you're like, everyone on the left, condemning the strikes, you're like you Ernie, you're one of the most liberal people I know, but it just surprised me because you're like, dude, this was a bad dude. But the one thing I remember like a year and a half ago, I remember a status you saw, or I saw of yours, and it was like, to everyone wishing, that President Trump fails in North Korea, you were like, what the fuck? You're like, this is good for everyone in the world. I mean, you're like, just put it aside. And the same thing is like, I've said that opposite. It's, it's, no one ever, I always bring up, I'm like, hey, did you know Trump signed a law that pays for the bills for families to fly to Dover Air Force Base to retrieve, that's where all the bodies come in. Sure. Everyone's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, that wasn't Trump, that was Obama. No one, you say it on the right, and they're like, he's, and I'm like, no, see, like, good shit can't, like, it's by all means, dude, argue to the end of time. That's all to me. I don't think no arguing is good. I think that's what makes it so great, is everything's a compromise. But the idea that no one on the other side can ever be right, that's, like, I always bring it up. Hey, we've done this before. It's called trench warfare. We did it in World War I. Now we're doing it with words, but hey, it doesn't work out. It never works out.
Well, dude, and it's just common sense, right? No party is monopoly on truth.
No, I mean, exactly, exactly.
Let's just start by that.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Like, whether I vote left or you vote right or whatever, like, to think that you're always right.
Yeah.
24/7.
Exactly.
And the other side is like, that's just.
And the thing is, I can't even. Especially me, I can't bring that point because I was raised pretty conservative. Then the first president I voted for was Obama, and then I voted for Romney in college because I was like, I'm pre-med, I want to be a doctor. I was like, I don't want to make less money. And then 4 years after that, I was like, okay, now I'm going to support Bernie. And then I ended up not voting and moved home. And now I'm a little more on the right. I wouldn't say a little more. I'd say I'm very far right. Not very far. I'm right, but. I've been on, and each time I'm convinced, I'm like, oh, well, this is the right play. But the reality is I'm like, dude, in 4 years I could be fucking whatever, voting for, President fucking whoever, President Beto, President Warren, and I could be saying, well, no, this is the right guy. So for me, it automatically negates any argument I want to make to anyone, because I can't stand in that position without being like, I'm a complete fucking hypocrite. So yeah, but yeah, you're right, man. It's the idea that anyone is infallible, or that the other side is, the fact that it's saying the other side, like,
well, but it goes to both sides, and it's pretty sad. I mean, and I've gotten kind of sick of it, because you think about, there is literally no longer like objective truth. You know what I mean?
There isn't. There isn't.
There is literally, the Democrats believe this, the Republicans believe this.
Ernie, need you to speak up.
Yeah. And if for whatever reason you go against that party dogma,
you're
blasted.
You just got
right?
quieter.
Did I?
Yeah.
I got louder. I tried.
Use your politician voice.
Ernesto Azteja. Try to get loud. I don't know.
It just got quieter again. Fuck, go back to where you originally were.
I'm trying to get louder. I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me a little better now?
There we go. That's a lot better.
That's weird.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So you're saying, yeah. What were you saying? There's no objective truth.
Right. And so, I mean, obviously there is, right? But we've come to this point.
Objectively, there is objective truth.
Right. We've come to this point where, if there's a D next to your name or an R next to your name, you just believe, what your party wants you to believe, and your dear leader is your dear leader, and it's
Red Sox Yankees.
And it's ridiculous.
It cannot be. That cannot be that cannot be true. Like,
right.
Because, it's not like, let's take Elon Musk, okay? I just finished a book about him. Just say he's a fucking billionaire, whatever. No politics, anything. If you take him, and then you take me, and you say, who's the better businessman? That's an objective truth. Because I'm 29 years old, living at home. I'm above my parents' garage right now. Elon Musk is worth $30 fucking billion, and he's trying to colonize another planet. Right. There's an objective truth.
Exactly.
Okay? Who's better looking, me or Ernie? It's clearly Ernie, okay? That's an objective truth. But, yeah, the idea that Trump cannot be wrong, or the liberals cannot be right, to me, at first glance, it's like, oh, this is madness. But on second glance, I'll don my tinfoil cap. It almost seems like that this is a playbook out of. It really does sound like keep everyone divided, because it's so cartoonish. It almost seems like it. When you realize you're getting trolled. Have you ever taken the bait? And someone's like, this is stupid. The Earth is only 6,000 years old, and you're like, you dumb shit. And then you're like, you realize you're like, it's someone like Cal or someone just bullshitting you, and you're like, I took the bait. It's almost gone so far that I'm starting to feel like, are we taking the bait? Like, are we? It almost.
Dude, no, it's just, we're just the divided country, and I don't know how you get past it. Now, certainly, the president and his temperament don't help any.
No. He's again, and as a Trump supporter, as someone that likes Trump. No, he is that's. Yeah, you can't step out and criticize him if you like Trump. But I'll be the first. Hey, I like him, man. He's putting money in a lot of people's pocket. That's my opinion. I don't care. I'll die on the hill. He's retarded. His temperament is not. Joe Rogan always says it. He's like, whether you like Obama or not, you're like, the man was a statesman.
Right.
He spoke and there's something to say that, yeah, you could speak well and be a poor leader. You could speak like an idiot and be a good leader. That's not the truth. That's not. But at a certain point, is like. Yeah, it's
Well, he's not. He's just not. He's just not presidential. I mean, he's just not.
No.
But he's the president.
He is exactly, and that is an argument. You're like, well, technically, is anything he does?
Define what is presidential.
Is that not presidential? If you do something, I'm like, that's not very Ernie-like, and well, is it? Well, Ernie did it, so it's Ernie-like.
Right.
But
exactly. Yeah, it's but no, I mean, I don't know, man, and I don't know how we turn the temperature down, and I don't know. I mean, I've just gotten to the point where I'm almost just turned off by it.
Me
because
too.
I'm like, what am I going to do? So what if I really were to get back into this stuff, right, and work on stuff? What kind of change will I be able to bring?
Yeah.
Will I be maybe a state senator or a congressman? What is a fucking congressman from Georgia 6 going to do to change the country?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
you know what I mean?
It's a little apathy inducing
when you have these big forces at play, you know, and it's true that now in today's America, the president just has so much power, and it seems like we're just going more and more and more that way
to a consolidated,
to consolidate towards the executives.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know, man.
I'm listening to, for like the 5th time, I love it, Garrett M. Graff. He used to be a writer for Politico, but he wrote a book called Raven Rock, and it's all about the American nuclear bunkers and shit. It's awesome. I love it.
Okay.
But I like to listening to it again. Frankly, he has a soothing voice, so I'm listening to the book again. But I picked up something that said yesterday, and it was like Truman during it was like, I guess, during the Korean War, there was like a steelworker strike, and Truman was like, we're on a war footing. You cannot strike the steel industry right now. And I was listening to it like, yeah, what a stupid thing. Like, you couldn't do that during the Korean War. And they're talking about it, and they're like, and it quickly made its way through the legal circuits, got to the Supreme Court, and they struck it down. They said you can't take over this private industry. You can't say what you can and can't do. It doesn't matter if we're at war in Korea. And just listening to that, it was so mind-blowing, because I'm like, if something like that happened today, it would just straight up be like, no, it's the war. You got to go for the war. But I was like, you go back 70 years, and it was Supreme Court. They took their dick out and put it on Truman's face, and they're like, you can't do this.
Yeah.
So it just that quick contrast. It does seem like, oh wow, like we kind of are. You know, I would say, granted, I'm young, so maybe this is only when I start paying attention. But I'd say it started with like Bush Jr., but it kind of seems like it's getting more to like a king place.
It does, doesn't it?
And you're politically versed. I'm not. I have I have a bachelor's in biology, so
right. You have all these on the left. You have all these Democrats who say, well, if Congress won't do anything about it, then I'm going to take action, right? And so it only, Trump does it too. I mean, look, they all do it because ultimately nowadays you've got to have results. You've got to produce for the American people. I mean, that's how it is always, right?
Yeah. But perpetual election campaign.
Right, but we're so damn divided that we can't even keep the government open. I mean, once a year we shut it down.
Yeah.
We can't even agree on how to spend the money we've already fucking spent or how to pay it back. Like, it's absurd. You know what I mean?
It's like, yeah.
And it's America.
It's
2019, 2020.
Yeah. Oh, it is 2020. Yeah. It almost seems like it's reaching a point of like gridlock where, how do you get out of it? It seems like the thing is like the Chinese finger trap. It's like, it seems like it's taken roots. It kind of seems like, obviously hyperbole, but like World War One-ish. Like, at what point did they clash really hard at the beginning, and then everyone literally digs trenches, and then, well, what happened? Well, I don't know, we threw away millions of lives until finally, after a couple of years, they said, we can't do this anymore. But is that what it takes? Is that...
I hope not. I mean, I'm not trying to die. I don't know.
Oh, no, we're good. We can't get drafted, so, like...
Well, forget the draft. If there's a civil war, there's something that happens here.
Yeah.
And forget drafts. That's an all-out... Well, that's obviously won't happen, I don't think. But,
yeah.
But look, here's the
famous
reality,
last words.
Here's the reality. The reality is that really 2/3 of all economic growth comes from big cities in this country. The reality is really the split in American politics, and it's definitely racial, but as much as it's also racial, it's also that urban-rural divide.
Mm-hmm.
So most jobs, most people, most economic activity, as I was just saying, is all produced in two-thirds of cities across America, which I believe went for Hillary Clinton in 2016 to something like around 66%, 67%, something along those lines. So that's really the fault line, and I don't know how we fix it. An idea that I saw not too long ago is, why don't you have the federal government, instead of having all these departments based in D.C., why don't you take them out to the middle of nowhere, Georgia, or the middle of nowhere, Indiana, and give people jobs that need the jobs. They don't need them in D.C. D.C. is one of the most richest.
D.C.'s rich as fuck.
Decentralize the federal government a little bit to, number one, become more responsive, but number two, to give people jobs that don't have them. Because these communities, you've been around them. You went about Valdosta, you drove in the middle of nowhere. When you went to Panama City, middle of nowhere, nothing. These people are dying. For the first time in a generation, white males have declined. Their
life expectancy,
so that's the divide, and that's why that's why I think Trump is he was a natural consequence of all this, because at least they felt like he was talking to them, the forgotten man and woman, the forgotten people of America. Hey, I've got your back.
Yeah,
right.
South Park. They kind of had a point when Mr. Garrison becomes Trump, and he goes in to talk to PC Principal, who's supposed to represent the left, and he was like, "Why did you do this?" And he goes, "You don't understand. Like, you created me." Right. Sorry. Go on. Yeah.
No, but what I was getting at is, and we just, because New York or San Francisco is just as much part of America as America's.
Yeah. As small town, blue-blooded America, it's.
You could even argue it's probably more American. When people think of America, they think New York, they think California. So, but what I mean by saying that, I'm not trying to get in a debate over what is America.
Yeah,
everything is America, right? We shouldn't be saying, because those liberals in California got 2 million more votes. Well, that's what. Well, yeah, they're Americans, just like you are. Why? Because they have a different opinion than you that discounts their votes?
Yeah.
The fact that there's more of them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I don't know, Tommy, how we fix that. I don't know how you get these people who haven't gotten ahead in not generations, but in decades. These people whose kids are dying. These people who have to work at the Dollar General or at Walmart, which, by the way, is the largest private employer in America.
2.2 million.
Of which millions of people, probably, I don't know about millions, but thousands and hundreds of thousands of people who work for them. Not only are they doing their job and working, getting paid not much money, but then they also have to turn around and use our money to buy food because they don't make money, which is crazy, right? That's a whole other topic. But, and so, how do you fix it? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think it involves a government that does less.
Yeah.
I think it means a government that does more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And that's why I'm a Democrat.
Yeah.
Because I think government should be a lot more active in helping these folks. Because obviously we haven't.
Yeah.
And look at us today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, that's not saying people aren't progressing.
Yeah.
Right? I'm doing just fine. A lot of friends are doing just fine, right?
Yeah,
but a lot of people aren't.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. And it's a point you brought up, saying two-thirds of all, what was the statistics?
Economic growth.
Yeah.
Two-thirds of all economic growth is I think it's within the 20 major metropolitan areas or something like that.
Yeah. So just bringing up a highlight on that. So I can, look at family I have in those bumblefuck areas, and I can say that for right or wrong, stuff like that is what makes them feel alienated. Or also, I could say for friends on the right is the turnaround point is who produces all the fucking food, who literally it's like what would be the what would be the first?
But let's be honest.
So the point I'm bringing up though is to agree with you, saying exactly you can't say one is one and one. It's all America. Where's all the higher education? Cities. Where's all the huge tech companies? Where's the innovations? Liberal cities. At the same time, where's all the fucking food? bumblefuck rah-rah America. So I think that goes to the point of saying, like, we can't do this. Well, which one's more American? No, it's all fucking,
Totally.
you can't say, well, my heart's a little liberal, but my hamstrings are, it's like, well, no, your legs carry you around, but your heart pumps your blood. It's so I think that goes right down, that goes right back into the division of saying this is this and that is that.
But these politicians have figured it out.
Yeah.
And they know that if you can say this
Preach
or
that.
say that or divide or say, well, the real Americans here in rural America.
Real American.
Go to church.
Real American, you roll your hay. You got it. Yeah, and then you can it's.
I don't know. I think it's the divide line in American politics. It's only gonna get worse.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
it's. I think as long as it's perpetual, you're on a what's congressional terms? Is that 2 years?
2 years in the House,
and what's Senate 6?
And then 6, so a third of the Senate gets reelected every 2 years.
Yeah, and then they're not term limits right now, right?
No.
So
the term limits your election. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So
because that's the thing, everyone complains about term limits and these people being there forever, but
yeah.
You guys keep reelecting these people. So
exactly.
I don't understand.
From like an outside point of view, again, biology degree, I Photoshop memes. I'm not. So just from like my 30,000 foot view, it seems like, well, if everyone's constantly trying to get reelected, and what's the quick to get reelected is not to talk like you and I are. No, because that doesn't get anyone. Ideally, it gets people on both sides going, that makes sense. But the reality is instead of getting one side hating you, you get both sides hating you. Look at this commie sympathizer faggot. Look at Ernie talking to me. They're like, oh, he's talking with the fascists. Like, oh, god damn it. So, we're breaking unofficial laws in 100 states right now, or 50 states right now. We got a Mexican and a white guy talking like that alone, and they have the audacity to both have American flags up. Like, what the fuck? So, but it almost seems like if you weren't campaigning officially or unofficially around the clock, because it's always you're trying to get the next term. It seems like if, again, uneducated, just my 30,000 foot view, it seems like if there was just, you have a set, even the president, I mean, how often is it, okay, well, once he gets his second term, then the president can do, and it's like, well, then what the fuck is even the point of the first one? If the first one's simply to get to the second, then we're just repeating the election, because the election's to get in, and then this first term's to win the second, and the second you do, why don't we just cut out the middleman and just have one fucking 8-year block? It kind of seems like the same with senators and Congress. Like, what if everyone just got fucking 6 years? You just get... Hey, old man.
Hi.
I'm doing a podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to go get some breakfast with us?
Not at the moment.
How long will you be?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, so we'll go with
Yeah. It's my pops. It's his birthday. They want to go get breakfast. But now I'm talking to you.
No, you wish you had a birthday.
Yeah, I will not. I will not pass that message along.
Well, then I'll do the sad dad dance.
And do the sad dad dance.
I just don't worry about it.
For your health. But but it almost what's your thoughts on that? If it was just you get one Congress, well, you could split it up or whatever. You get one block to do what you want to do.
I think members of the House. I mean, I think senators are fine because they get 6 years. I think members of the House should get 4 years.
Yeah.
Because what happens with a 2-year term is you get 1 year to govern, and the next year's for re-election. So you really have only.
And if you're a real go-getter, you're going to be campaigning the whole time. Fuck waiting a year. That's what I'm doing.
Well, yeah, but you want some accomplishments too, right? So
yeah.
You've got to give yourself at least a few months.
2 years is just too short. Period.
Right. It's a professional campaign.
Go on.
It's a professional campaign, right? So, no, I totally agree. It's too short. I think it should get 4 years, and I think with 4 years you may see it. But I don't know, man. I think the biggest problem, ultimately, really, what it boils down to, other than that urban-rural divide, I think, is gerrymandering, right? When you have politicians choosing their voters, you're no longer responsive to what people think of you, because as long as you just do what's right for your party, because hey, I know that I got voted in by Republicans, or by Democrats, then it doesn't matter, because as long as they're happy with me, it doesn't matter what the other side. And what is that?
Exactly. If
it incentivizes the opposite of compromise.
Exactly.
It incentivizes tribalism.
Exactly. If I'm a pledge, I don't give a fuck what SAE or Kappa Sig thinks of me. If I go steal whatever, their trophy, their mailbox, I know it's going to get me props at Pike. Yeah. So what the fuck do I care?
That's how I ride.
Okay, and that's great for that one little, enclave, and that was good 50,000 years ago on the plains of Africa when it was us versus the saber-toothed tigers.
Right.
But when it's 370 million, what are we at now? When it's 370 million people?
320.
320? Still, it's not 10 people. That's
where the problem, and Obama, so Obama and Eric Holder are working on that, on trying to get independent commissions. So North Carolina, for example, has been gerrymandered bad for years, over the last decade. And they just had a judge over the last few months throw out these maps. And they favored Republicans, right? Even though Democrats have been winning the overall popular vote there.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it, in 2016, the Democrats, so if you took the entire House districts, right? All the people who voted for Democrats, all the people who voted for Republicans, divided by this 425, right? Or not divided, but just, averaged out. There were about 3 million more votes for the Democrats, but the Republicans somehow still had 25 seat majority.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's literally gerrymandering. I mean, that's literally why, right? And that shouldn't, because if we're supposed to be a democracy, and it sounds like I'm rooting for the Democrats, I'm just giving you facts, right? Then you'd think, right? Now we know how the presidential thing works, but, Democrats got millions more votes and still had less seats.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And the only time to change that is these wave elections. So 2018 was a wave election, right? 2010 for Barack Obama was a wave election, right? Where no matter what sort of control.
What's a wave election?
A wave election, just like where basically, the opposition party, the party in the minority is winning.
Oh, okay.
60. That's a wave, like hey.
Oh, okay. Like the blue wave. Okay, so
right.
Everyone get it. Okay, all right.
Exactly. See what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of how it sort of self-corrects. But in the meantime, you can have years. That's why it's funny to me when you hear these politicians and they go, "Well, I've got this mandate from the people." Well, but do you? Because the people actually voted the other way. But it's politics, and that's the game they play. But unfortunately, it's gotten us to this point where, again, it's how you rise in your party. It's how you rise to become the star for the Democrats, for the Republican. But what may be good for you personally may not be good for the country. It obviously is not.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
It's just because no longer is the incentive, I'm going to work with this guy across the aisle to get something done, then we can go back to our constituents and say, hey, look at us, we can get something done. The incentive now is, hey,
fuck them. Fuck them. I fucked them. Yeah.
And as long as I get to make my, get my brownie points for having this cool little thing on social media about how great of a Republican I am.
Look at. Yeah, right? we ain't giving an inch to them gun grabbing Democrats. It's like, okay, but but we need funding for the schools. How about that part? Well, we don't give an inch to those gun grabbing Democrats. We go to church and we watch football. Hey, we don't have any money for the schools. Can you bring that part up? But that guy who raises that question, fuck that guy. It's
literally inner city schools who don't have to view these the same books for decades.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But let's make sure that those
Yeah.
Right. Those guys on the other side, don't get the...
So it brings up a question. Is even you and I right now, we're making this argument left, right. Again, are we being cleverly deceived to not bat an eye at the $736 billion being dropped on the military just for these 12 months? For the 80th year in a row?
Here's the difference when people hear. That's when people, you saw my status. People are like, dude, you were so right wing now and this stuff. Yeah, I have no problem with the military spending a lot of money. You know why? Because I'm an American.
Yeah.
I live in America.
Exactly.
And let me tell you something. And I find people from both sides of the aisle on this, because there's a lot of people on the left who are just, these wars, like Bernie Sanders, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting all this stuff. And then you got people on the right, like Trump, who, when he was campaigning, said, I'm getting us out of these wars. Obviously not what he's doing, because, he's now the president. He understands the reality of the fucking world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's
I, as a Democrat, have no issues with us spending $700 billion in military spending.
Yeah.
Because, again, I want us to remain the world power. I want us to save the world.
Yeah.
I want us to run the World Bank. Why would I not?
Exactly.
I have never understood that.
It's a dark reality point to bring up.
Right.
But it's a zero-sum game. It's
zero-sum world.
And hey, that's brutal. So when you say that it's a zero-sum world, it's a zero-sum game, that doesn't mean I like that it's a zero-sum game.
Right.
That doesn't mean that that's wonderful. It means that's the reality of it.
Right.
That's the objective. You can't paint it any other way.
That's the truth. So when Donald Trump, for example, steps away from the Asian deal, the Asian Pacific deal they had back when Obama was negotiating when he left office back in 2017, and then Trump steps away, what happens is you cede that space to China. That's why and look, and it's on both sides of the political spectrum. Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren were very much against it, and and it's just. It's crazy to me how really both ends are similar to an extent. They're dissatisfied. They don't like the trade deals. They're weary of military power, and they don't want America to police the world anymore. And it honestly it blows my mind. I mean, if you would have told someone 15 years ago that you'd have Democrats defending trade deals and military spending, I mean, they would have thought you were going crazy.
Yeah.
So we may be in the middle of some political realignment. I don't know. Who knows? But to me, it doesn't bother me. I mean, $700 billion is a lot of money. Maybe we could spend a little less.
Yeah.
But the reality is this going to make us strong? If it's going to make us powerful, and if it's going to keep us up, then let's do it. I just don't understand.
Because look, if Russia is number one, or if China is number one, or fucking India is number one, guess what? They're not going, hey, well, let's make sure America they're on top now. And look, it's not right. It's a
drastically different world. I put it to you this way: the killing of Soleimani that we just did a couple days ago.
Salami.
That is a prime example. Think about this for a second. Just think about it. Of how powerful the United States is and how unipolar this world still is, which means it's really got one world power. Really, really.
Yeah.
We just killed what would have been the equivalent of Russia or Iran going and killing David Petraeus 6 years ago. Like, that's a big
like in Canada. Like, he went up to Toronto.
Right.
Think about
an act of war.
Think about a JDAM coming down from an F-22 at 80,000 feet, taking out Petraeus in Toronto.
Right, in an international airport, by the way.
Yeah.
But think about it. What country can do that? Only the United States.
Yeah.
Who else would even dare? There would be sanctions. The world would be going crazy. So it shows you how powerful America still is, and it shows you that why would we want to lose that? Why would we want to see? And the next time we do this, have Russia say, well, you actually can't do this. So now I'm going to go hit you here. I'm going to give you sanctions here. I'm going to because that's what we do to other countries. So why in the world would we ever want to give that up? And I'll tell you, Trump, oddly enough, is feeding into this narrative of pulling away. As much as he's not here and there, right? As much as he's had some negotiations with North Korea and this thing with Iran that's going on right now, look at how he treats our allies. Look at how he treats NATO, which is supposed to be a counterforce to Russia.
Yeah.
Russian action. It's really sad. It's pathetic. President of the United, those are things, Tommy, that whether you're a Republican or because if this was Barack Obama doing this, I'd be saying the same shit.
Yeah.
Isn't it cool? The president of the United States should stand for freedom, should stand to fight against the evil forces in the world, should stand to make sure that we are still and will remain a preeminent world power. But when you start pulling back, and when you turn your back on your allies and you say, well, you need to do this or I'm out, but then you turn around and you talk about dictators in a, I don't want to say loving, but just in a friendly way, that's not America. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, going ape shit.
Ronald Reagan is right. He's rotating at light speed in his grave.
Right. I mean, and those are the things that obviously I profoundly disagree with Trump on. And, and those are things that aren't Democrat or Republican.
No, it's well, and back to the tribalism is like 6 weeks ago. Was it 6 weeks ago? Trump's we don't need any more. Yeah, fuck the Kurds. We're pulling out the troops. Everyone on the right saying fuck them. I don't care. Pull them out. It's good.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I agreed. I'm kind of fuck it. I don't give a shit. I'd rather more Americans live than not. Sad world, but it is. Everyone on the left is saying you're pulling them out. You can't do this, and everyone's saying, hey, look, the left is now for keeping forces overseas. 6 weeks later, now everyone on the right's going, we had to fucking blow up that general, and the left's going, how can you? And it's like, dude, we literally just changed positions in 42 days. That's how fucking insane it is right now.
That's how insane it is.
Which I can't help but make me feel like it seems like someone's fucking pulling the string. It's just like, because it's so comical. Dude, that's why.
It's the Elon Musk simulation theory is what it is.
I'm gonna piss. We're talking about that. Hey, explain real quick your while I piss.
Yeah.
What you were doing in politics, because you were going down that path for a couple of years, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, explain that. I'm gonna go pee.
So go. So a little while ago, for anyone watching, obviously, thank you guys. I used to be. Well, back in the day, I worked for the Democratic Party of Georgia. This is back in 2000 and I guess 11 or 12. I also interned up in D.C. I actually applied for a White House internship, got the acceptance, but couldn't take it at the time during the Obama administration back in 2013, just because it wasn't paid. I couldn't go up there and go work for free, not in one of the most expensive cities in the country. So I went and I did a congressional internship. I came back to Georgia, worked after college, worked for a law firm for a bit, then I worked as a chief of staff to a state senator here in the state capitol, and then I actually left politics because it wasn't making me any money. Really, at the time, I was 23 or 24 and wasn't making much money, and I needed to move on, and I went into sales, so now I've been working in sales for 5 years, and it's easy. Sales is the move, is where all the money is. And, but as I was telling Tommy, it's just crazy with politics these days. I mean, you just feel like you just want to step away because it's just so crazy. I mean, in no other industry on the planet can you continuously fight the people you're supposed to work with and get it right. You just can't. So I'm not sure how anyone in their right mind thinks that continuous fighting and bickering like children is going to get anything done. I don't get it. Do you think these people, they're old? They're in their 70s, I mean, right? They have time to deliberate and think. They're not young folks, right? Most of them are not, at least not the majority leaders. So it's crazy. It really.
I'm back, Ernie.
You're back. I was just telling your audience about just thinking about how, just divided we are, and I'm just, thought to myself, these people that are up there literally are like in their 70s and their 60s. They're old. Like, these are people who are supposed to be like deliberate and smart and think things through.
They're almost supposed to be like,
no, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. No, it's your fault.
Yeah. It's the fact that, like, what percentage of Congress are millionaires?
That's another thing. Well, that's the other thing. You have to be a millionaire.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, but I mean, I'm just kind of
no, but you're right. But that shows you how out of touch they are with the real America.
Yeah.
Because most of them are, you're right, they're rich as shit. They don't know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
They don't know what it's like to have to put a bill on a credit card because they can't afford this or that.
Yeah. And the fact that and we're just as guilty. The fact that on the right and the left we're cheering on our team,
sure,
our Tom Brady versus our fucking Falcons. Like, the fact that we're cheering him on, it's kind of like, it's like you and Cal would always say this when we'd be like watching like the Hawks or something in your dorm, and and I would just start, I would start supporting the Celtics just to fucking piss you guys off. But then we'd always laugh afterwards as we're drinking like $4 vodka. We'd be like, here are these fucking handsome 7-foot millionaires who don't give a fuck about us, yet we're at each other's throats because we are living vicariously through them. They are our avatars, but they don't give a shit about us. It's like, is it any different? Dude, my Republican billionaire cares more about me than your Republican, your billionaire Democrat. It's like, you're both wrong.
You'd like to think not. I mean, there's some experiences. I mean, obviously, that's not to say that all these people who are rich were always rich, right?
Yeah.
Because some of them weren't. But right, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's one thing about Trump that, I mean, good for him. He got through these people. But how does anyone really honestly believe that this man? Just the way he acts, like how does a farmer in Arkansas think, oh man, that Donald Trump guy? I mean, he really cares about
that guy with the
guy who's lived in New York his whole life.
Have you ever seen pictures of his penthouse?
Oh yeah,
the thing looks like it's God. It's not even like a penthouse you look at. You're like, oh, that'd be dope to live in. You look at it, and you're like, ew. It looks like
John Kerry, man.
Yeah,
John Kerry was.
No, Trump's is the worst. Trump's is the worst. If you look at his, it looks like the Palace of Versailles. It doesn't look. The one thing I always look at is like, that's not cozy. I feel like I'm in a museum. It's
this guy.
Hi, Dougie.
Just chilling. Yeah, dude.
It's
yeah, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, look, the only way to really change that would be to publicly finance elections, so you wouldn't have any private donors.
Yeah.
It'd be from the government, right, from the taxpayer.
Yeah,
that's fair, and I don't know how you administer that, but.
Yeah, well, the people in charge of administering it are rich as fuck, and why would they want the game to be? Why would they want an inclusive game? Yeah, it's
right.
Yeah,
it's any crazy kook and then run for office.
Yeah, oh, what a thought. Yeah, any American.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Yeah, man. If you're in a fraternity, you've got one of 5 houses right next to campus, and you're the only one with a pool, but you're still one of 5. You guys the fraternities are going to put your differences aside and say, you know what? Hey, we're 5% of the students here, but we get 90% of the pussy. Like, let's keep it this way. We can keep arguing. We can keep fighting over shit like Greek Week and other, trivial shit. But let's, for the most part, we control all the bars too. Okay, let's make sure no one else gets in on this. We can have our wars. But let's remember the big picture, guys. It's us versus them.
Exactly.
But at the same time, shit, is that not what we were just saying? It's a zero-sum game. It's us versus the world.
But the difference, right, at least in domestic politics, is that, I mean, millions of people's lives are at stake, and
yeah,
the government. I mean, but right. But you're right. I mean, who knows, man? Also, like you said, it's a zero-sum world. I mean,
that's the truth.
It's different, though. You know what I mean? On the world stage, then you got to be diplomatic, and you got to make sure, just like you got to flex your military muscle, but you've got to make sure that you're building coalitions, and I think Trump has hurt us significantly in that regard.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have Germany, when you have France, when you have England, I mean, allies of America who have been allies for literally hundreds of years, right?
France helped us fucking in the Revolutionary War.
Right. We were even a fucking country.
What was the French Revolution? 1789?
Something like that.
And so they were helping us before the French Revolution.
I'm pretty sure before. Yeah.
So because before it would be 1776 before versus 1789.
So right, our Constitution was in 88. So but dude, it's just.
Is that the ultimate flex on military muscle, though? That's
just being a dick.
It is.
For no reason. To people who are your friends, man. You know what I mean? It's like saying you and I hang out all the time. We see each other every day, and then I go, "Tell me what the fuck, man? We got drunk the last 2 nights, and you didn't pay for a goddamn. I'm not gonna be your fucking friend unless you buy a bottle tonight, dude. I'm out. I'm fucked. I mean, you don't act like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's not."
Yeah, it's...
but obviously this is a much larger range of shit, right? These are literal, world order questions.
Yeah.
Living and dying questions. It's...
And just for the record, most of the questions I pose, I bring them up simply for devil's advocate. So if when I say kind of ridiculous shit like that, it's not necessarily my stance. I just...
Sure.
For the entertainment value of a conversation. So, But when you said no, that's not flexing. That's just being a dick. Is being a dick with no repercussions, is that not the ultimate flex?
But
I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying I'm not saying it has a purpose. But I'm just, is it a flex?
It's a flex for sure. I mean,
you're flexing your dick, but it's
is it smart as the president? Of the United States,
No.
The largest.
But is it not like
a powerful military in human history? Is it smart?
No, it's not smart. But is it if if there's anyone to boost some ego, puff their chest, it's Trump, and is that not a flex? Not only can I blow up a general at an international airport, I'm also going to fucking say fuck you to NATO. What are you going to do? Is it not the ultimate, I'm not saying it has any long-term purpose that's beneficial to us or advantageous to us, but for the sake of flexing, is it, is that not an obvious way to put forth American military power is to blow the fuck out of a general at an international airport?
Oh, right, but that's what I'm saying. There's a twofold strategy, right, to international relations. It's diplomacy and it's military power.
Yeah.
And diplomacy is just as important.
Yeah.
Right? You got to be able to get along with.
You got to be able. Yeah, you got to be able to dance.
You got to be able to build coalitions to have countries have your back, because ultimately, we're the most powerful. We can't do everything alone, right? We'll spread ourselves too thin. It wouldn't be good. So, but if you want to do it, but do it to Putin.
Yeah.
Do it to Kim. Do it to
Winnie the Pooh.
Do it to nations, right?
Yeah.
That deserve your ire and deserve to be treated a certain way. Don't do it to the countries who have your back.
Yeah.
Don't do it to Angela Merkel.
Yeah.
Don't do it to Emmanuel Macron.
Yeah. Don't do it to the ones that literally were part of the coalition forces in Iraq.
I mean, don't. So it's a sad, and everyone does it. But again, this is the president, and I don't think, Obama did it to an extent, but it feels like it's been ratcheted up a level. So, Dinesh D'Souza, that Indian guy.
I always see screenshots of him. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a conservative commentator. He's very incendiary language. He always uses, and he wrote a tweet, and it said, the Iranians didn't see the intelligence, or didn't see this. We didn't tell anyone about this. Or we didn't tell the Democrats. Basically, he equated the Democratic Party and all Democrats, which is, 60 million people, 65 million people.
Again, tribalism.
Right, it's ridiculous. He equated them to the Iranians because they're the enemy, and you wouldn't give the enemy the information beforehand.
I've heard that argument several times in the last year.
Here's the sad part, Tommy. Here's the sad part. You know who retweeted it?
No. You know. Fucking Trump?
The president.
I'm laughing because it's fucked up.
It's just, that's what I mean. Like, imagine if Obama. Can you imagine what Fox News?
Insanity.
I mean, they would have tried to impeach him over it probably.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And so, look, and I understand, when your side does it, like, I get it, right? But that is just so out of bounds. That is so just. Dude, we're on the same team. Don't forget.
Who is the exactly that? No, you said it perfectly, and it needs to be reminded for everything in all cases is we're on the same team, and it's when people are I hope there's a recession so everyone can see how bad Trump is. It's like, dude, if we're on an airplane and the pilot gave me a complimentary drink and then told you got to pay for yours, and I'm going, oh, I like the pilot. Are you going, fuck that pilot, I hope he crashes his plane into a mountain? It's like, hey dog, you're on the plane. It's yeah, but it goes both ways. We didn't give them intelligence because you don't want to give enemy combatants intelligence, ha ha ha. And it's like, if we set that as a precedent of being okay, hey, even if Trump wins the election in a maximum of 5 years, it could now be happening to you.
Right.
We didn't give the Republicans the intelligence because they're enemy combatants. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, dude, she got shit. Oh, dude.
Gross.
She has really long hair.
Yeah.
And she got a little bit or a lot in her little backside. So now I have to fucking clean it.
Inappropriate, disrespectful. How dare you?
Very disrespectful. But no, but yeah, I mean, it's so and I'm not saying Democrats don't do it. I mean, you've got Democrats who right now, like I said, I said don't let your partisanship blind you. I mean, this is a good day for America. Now, the consequences, we'll have to see what happens, after this.
Can you speak? Because I'll be the first to admit, I didn't even know it happened yesterday until yesterday. And I'm normally, so I live with my parents. My parents are in their 60s. I'm normally 3 days ahead of them on news because they only watch the news versus the internet. So they'll be, did you hear that? I'll be like, yeah, that happened fucking days ago. But so yeah, so I heard them talking about it, and I guess I just hadn't logged on to anything. I just wasn't paying attention. So what the fuck happened? Because I don't even know who this guy is. So what the fuck did he even do aside from not being white and American? What did he do?
This guy was a commander, and the commander of the special forces in Iran, right? So he quite literally, directed, orchestrated, planned, executed, killed things to kill Americans, right?
When were the last Americans killed by? I don't know this, and I just
I don't know if there was any killings, but I mean the attack on the embassy just a few days ago in Baghdad was his plane.
Okay.
And so the reason why they did this attack was because apparently there was about 3 or 4 attacks that they already had ready to go, yesterday or the day before. So if we wouldn't have killed him, they would have attacked 3 or 4 more. So it was supposed to be a preventative measure to say, hey, we're flexing our muscle now. This is America, right? Uh-huh. And Iran has been attacking us now. They were seizing ships. They attacked an American contractor last year. So they've been ratcheting up the level of things, and we haven't really been doing much to counter. Haven't
enforced the line in the sand.
So it is to an extent justified because you can only take these nuisances for so long. At some point, you've got to do something, because if not, you're going to seem weak, right? If you just sit back and go, oh, yeah, keep punching me like it's cool, whatever.
Yeah.
At some point, we're America.
You got to flex back.
Right. So now, the question is, right, I mean, that's why I say it's not morally debatable that this guy's dead. This guy was a bad dude. I mean, he was an evil man. He killed and I mean that
zero-sum game. You let him live. Right. There's less of us. It's okay.
Right. I mean, he was a military. Again, he was their guy in Iran, right? And he's revered in Iran. I mean, this is a blow to the country, to the military brass.
He was like a Mattis.
Yeah, exactly, just like that. And so they did it again. The point was what they said, right? And you got to take everything, the military and the administrations as, with this administration, in my opinion, right? Because Trump just so easily
fucking lies through his teeth. Yeah, right? Okay.
I mean, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because he's the president. I always want to do that.
Exactly. It's
right? But the point is, they said, again, it was supposed to be to show our strength. We don't want any more fights. Let's back off. And then we go and we hit another strike yesterday.
Last night.
Right? If your intent is to stop a war, why are you continuing to strike?
Unless that wasn't the intent, and that was just a really beneficial smokescreen.
Exactly. Which is a shame, because then that means they're lying to us. And I hope that's not the case.
Yeah. So what we were saying earlier, the whole we need to stop fighting, and because we all are in the same country, and it's a zero-sum game. It's so there's. Mike Baker is a guy that was on Joe Rogan. He's been on several times since, but the first one I listened to was a couple years ago. He's a former CIA, operative, but he talks about he's like look, America. He's like, we're not perfect at all. He's like, just because you support the military and the intelligence community, it doesn't mean you think that we're this we're God's people. He's like, look, we do some fucked up shit, but he was like, from someone that's operated in different countries and sort of seen the dark backside, he was like, you want us in charge, because if it's not us, it's someone else, and we're not their priority. So he's like, that's the brutal dark truth, is if we're not at number one, he's like, I'd rather have us at number one and only be doing 30% good stuff and 70% evil than someone else that, doing 10% good and 90% evil. He's like,
right.
he's like, it's not good. No one likes it. You wish that we all hold hands and kumbaya. But he's like, okay, so the point of me saying that is, so we were talking about America. It's you were just like, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, spend the money. I want us to be in. I live here. I'm on the planet.
Exactly.
and we need to stop. Hey, I went and I showed those Dems, now reelect me, rah rah. That's not good. So if you were to sort of zoom out with that same pattern of saying, we need a, not just that's the enemy. Could that be what this is? Let's just, again, so donning the tinfoil hat, could that be a point of how do we get out of this gridlock in the United States? What better way than a common enemy?
You know why I don't think so anymore?
Why?
I mean, just look at the reaction of what we're doing.
Yeah.
You've got Democrats.
No one's saying it's a common enemy. We're going...
Right. I mean, their enemy is Trump.
You have to have a 9/11 or some shit.
You know what I mean? Exactly.
Yeah.
Their enemy is Trump. It's not Iran.
Yeah.
It's not their enemy, and it's not every Democrat, right? I mean, I'm not going to say that's dumb. But a lot of these people, and on the fringes and on Twitter...
The reality is if we didn't kill him yesterday... everyone on the left would be saying we should have taken him out. And everyone on the right would have been saying he's showing restraint.
Look at Senator Chris. Look at Senator Chris Murphy's Twitter. 4 days ago, he was talking about how weak the Trump administration is for this Baghdad attack on the embassies near Benghazi. 3 days later, he does this. This is so out of bounds. What do you want this man to do? Like, what? You just changed your position in a matter of days just because you hate this man. And I don't like Trump, right? Like,
but everyone on the right, we're just as bad. It's the meme own the libs. Like that's exactly what it is. But so it almost it kind of. It's like what better way to sort of stop hating each other than hate someone else?
Right.
And I'm not saying it's good, but I mean, god damn it if that hasn't worked before.
No, I mean it would work, but I don't know, man. I lost all hope for politics. It just seems so crazy.
It just
you know what I mean?
It almost seems like, dude, just find yourself a nice girl, get a job.
Right.
Dude, you have a dog and a cat. You got a nice couch. Playoffs tonight. It's almost like when you first start to get angsty and aware of the world. When you're like 18, you're like people distracting themselves with sports. A quick 10 years later, I'm like, maybe that's the only sane thing to do. Because unless you're out changing the world as a world leader. Or, being a fucking terrorist and enacting change with a bomb. Right. What else is there to do but just sort of... So I now look at people who I used to think of as like, oh, they're just sheep that don't care. I'm now like, no, they're just sane.
They're just people...
They're just older than us that are just like...
And ultimately, I think I've come to realize this over the last 10 years, like you said. Ultimately... you control what you can control, and what I can control for myself is my job, my relationships, my friendships.
Be cool to other people. Be the best person you can.
And love, and just
love. Just
you know what I mean.
Try to give people the benefit of the doubt.
As dumb and as hippie as that sounds, love. It's so true.
It's not though. It's
we're here for 60, 70 years.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky, right?
If you're fucking lucky, man.
Parents now, we're getting old, man. My parents are in their 60s. My dad's 62, and you're just
my dad turned 62 today. It's
right. So it's like we have our parents hopefully for a long time, but maybe 2 decades, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, right? Shit. I mean, dude, I lost my older brother 5 years ago. It's
right.
You think that you're gonna be 80 together, and it's like, damn.
Exactly, dude. But I have a little brother, man, who lived for 3 days. I wish he was alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
it's
and so you start putting all these things into, and obviously what you lived through it, so that's a whole different. I didn't even get to meet.
But the point's the same. Is maybe you just control your immediate universe.
Because what else can you do? And if that immediate universe are a good person, and if you can make people feel loved, and if you can just do that, right? And make just your little circle a little better, and hopefully that perpetuates.
But maybe that is what changes the world.
And maybe that is.
Maybe it's not, how can I do anything? I'm not the president. Well, maybe, and again, hippie woo-woo, but, like, maybe that's what you're supposed to, okay, like, so you don't build a skyscraper just going, well, we don't, where are we going to put it? We don't have, it's so big, and it's like, no, you build it literally brick by brick.
Yeah.
That's what makes Manhattan skyline isn't a bunch of skyscrapers. It's billions of bricks that just so happen to make skyscrapers. You know, maybe that's all you can do is you look at the news and, you know, get General Salami blown up. It's maybe all you can do is fucking, hey, I haven't talked to when was the last time I've talked to Ernie face to face? Jesus Christ. Like, maybe that's all you can do is just fucking smile and make fun of each other and, you know, talk about your cat's butthole. Like, maybe that's all you, you know, it's my dad's birthday today, the, you know, Patriots wild card. Like, I'm going to watch that. Like, you know, make some memes. Like, maybe that's all you can do. And it's not being apathetic for the sake of being apathetic and edgy. You know, America, it's all just military anyway, man. Fuck the elite. Whatever, man. I see through the lies. Like, no, maybe it's, you got to stay sane, but maybe it's also all you can do is fucking hold the door at the gym and smile.
I told people this all the time, right? And it's so true. And when I was in DC, and it's like, dude, you know, you think these people have this like master plan, you know, that they've got these political geniuses. Yeah. Bro, they're just people like you and me. And let me tell you something. These people don't know what the fuck they're doing.
They're just as, they're worried about the fucking, like, they're worried about the spot in their teeth. They're worried about their kid.
They're just, and I'm telling you, man, I've seen it. I mean, I know who these people are. They're not some grand geniuses.
They're lizards.
And you know, so people have to understand, this is just hard. This is a chaotic world with people who are trying to kill us, people who are trying to be our friends, people within our country who have nothing to eat, don't have a place to stay. So all these people are just trying to do what they think is right.
Yeah.
And that's why ultimately I hate when people question motives. Like, never question someone's motives. You know what I mean? They think, you know, everyone goes up there
unless you're like a literal like child molester,
right?
Unless you're like actual like a demon,
right? Obviously,
but yeah, it's a you don't know what anyone. Like Joe Rogan said, he's like, after I had a kid, he's like, now I just look at everyone as just really old babies.
Yeah.
But you kind of, that's what I think when I look at people and I look at like politicians screaming at each other or something. I just think like, ultimately, like, dude, are we not all just like little kids and sketchers with overalls, like, who don't feel good when you make others feel bad, and you want to be cool too, but you also want everyone to be at your birthday party? And it's like, is this not that same thing, just blown the fuck up on a much larger scale? Yeah.
I mean, dude, we're almost 30 years old. Can you believe we're 30 years old? Do you remember when you were like, when you were a kid and you're like a 30-year-old? Like, that's an adult.
You're nearly dead. Like, being a teenager was old. Being college,
and now you're 30 and you're like, shit, dude, like, I'm an adult.
I feel just as childish as ever.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
I just have money to be able to afford shit, and I have a place to live and a couple pets. And
you're like, oh, fuck. You're like, you know, it's like, there's some comedian that said it. He was like, you used to think adults had it figured out, and then one day you're at the grocery store and someone says, paper or plastic, sir? And you go, sir? And they go, yeah, you're an adult. And you go, oh, shit.
Exactly.
But even now, being 30, you know, my dad turned 62. Surely he has it figured out. But am I going to get to 62 and be like, oh, god damn it? You're literally like, your skin's sagging, your hair's a different color, but you're probably just as fucking stupid. Like, I don't know, man.
It's a lot. That's why I'm just, like you said, trying to focus on your immediate universe. And corny as it sounds, it's just, you know, I'm sure you saw my status when I was like, you know, can we just not fucking love each other? When I was about impeachment, I was like, let's just fucking love each other. Let's just with this like, it's just so. You know, I personally think the impeachment is justified, but the reality is this: I'm not going to change your mind. I'm not going to change anyone's minds, and so, what's the point of fighting where we can just focus? On each other and we are, and you know what I mean. And like,
dude, when Bernie had a heart attack, I mean, I remember I literally like made a post on like our conservative on Reddit, and I was like, you know, say a prayer for him. Because I was like, this is a dude. This is just a dude. This is somebody's son. This is somebody's uncle.
Somebody's dad. Somebody's husband.
This is somebody's neighbor. Right. This is somebody's childhood buddy that just so happens to be fucking running. Like, and the overwhelming of like, oh, are are like, nice try, liberal. And I'm just thinking, like, I'm as conservative as the day is long, but it's just like, it's just like, dude, hold on. He had a heart attack.
Right,
are you all right? Are you okay?
But you can't dissent these days, man.
No, you can't, man.
You can't. The minute that you dissent, you must be
or worse yet, it's, oh, look at this centrist fuck. That's another thing. I've seen that recently, like, oh, the centrists are the worst. Choose a side. It's like what? Tribalism is okay in sports because it's a game and we acknowledge it's a game. You know, some people take it too far, but it's a game, and ultimately it's just a game, and who gets the big shiny trophy at the end of the year, whatever. But when it converts to, like, the real world, like, it's like, dude, what?
Well, Tommy, you tell me an industry, in any business, in any community on the planet, in which you literally don't get along with your colleagues, which, by the way, you have to get along with in order to be able to be successful, in which the industry is successful. Where does that exist?
MMA.
Where the people that you work with, right? Okay. The people that you work with, that you have to get to know in order to succeed, to produce, and you don't. I mean,
and not only that,
you don't get fired.
You get not only that, you get props for.
Right.
I showed them over, and I showed, us here, us guys on the top deck of the ship. I just went and told off those guys putting the coal in the engines. And it's like, dude, what? That's what it is. It's
you'd get fired.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just reality. So I don't know, man. I don't know how we fix it, but that's why, like I said, I've almost felt like just stepping away, not worrying about it. I mean, I'm gonna keep watching news and stuff, but I'm
with you, but I start to almost feel like I'm part of the problem when I do that. I'm like, does that not make it that much worse if I just say I don't want anything to do with it? But then you get back into it and you're like, fuck this, I just want to, like, take care of my dog.
Still gonna go vote.
Yeah.
But
maybe that is all. That's all you. It's like, at least go vote, but, like, you don't need to be plugged in.
That's all you can do. That's the only decision you can make.
Yeah, that's the way I look. You've seen The Dark Knight, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
It's, so let me get this straight. Like, you're making this crazy accusation that you think your CEO is, trained in martial arts and weaponry and beats enemies to a pulp with like international impunity. It's like, not only is that like a crazy accusation, but if it's true, what are you gonna do? It's almost, it's like all you can do is vote, and people are like, how you're gonna vote? Like, don't you know, like, the military-industrial complex controls everything? They have $1 trillion murder machine that can take out anyone. And it's like, I don't think that's true. But if it is, well, then what the fuck are you gonna do anyway? So, like,
what can you
might as well at least vote and hope it changes than sit there with your arms crossed. And it's like, it's like the argument in, like, Hong Kong, like, all these people be like, man, bet they wish they had some guns. And that is my viewpoint. I'm like, man, I bet they fucking wish they had some guns right now. But a counterpoint I've seen is like, okay, well, then the Chinese would just use that as a justification to come in and bulldoze them all that much faster. I'm like, that's true. That is very true. So what are you going to do? Just bend over and take it slowly, or fight back and get it over quickly? It's...
The reality is, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. But I don't know, man. Yeah, like I said, it just feels like we keep perpetuating more divisiveness and more hate and more. I'm just,
it feels like it can only beget more hate.
I'm voting for Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Right. And Joe Biden, and people will tell you, and of course you got all these woke, all the woke Democrats, right? Joe Biden, he's not even a Democrat. He said that he may even appoint a Republican. He may even think about appointing a Republican, as vice president. How could you ever even think? And these people, and it's just like, dude, Joe Biden talks about wanting to work with Republicans, and people shit on him. Oh, you're so delusional. Republicans will never work with you. But he said something, and it's so true. But if we refuse to try, what does that say about us?
Yeah.
What does that say about where we can't just say, oh well, it is what it is. Well, I guess we'll just do it all with Democrats, because that's not how it works. And so that's why I like Joe. He's a pragmatist. He understands. He's not a crazy leftist. He understands the world.
He was in the Oval Office,
he was right.
Even as a conservative, hey man, reality is he was the second highest in the land.
Right, and he served on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
Right? So, or maybe not that long, but 20 plus years. But
500.
so that's what that's why I like the guy, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm gonna vote for him, and I hope he's our nominee. I think he has the best chance too of being Trump. I think people relate to him. I think people because remember, it's 3 states: Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan. And it was literally a total of 100,000 votes. That's it. That's the reason why.
That's what really.
That's it. That's
Holy
it.
shit!
Donald Trump has the 5th lowest margin of victory in American history. It's a very precarious.
Obama bulldozed McCain, right?
Yeah, it was.
Did he bulldoze Romney?
I think it was I think it was 311 to something like that to 250. It wasn't as big a
And what was Trump's?
Which typically is what happens. You know what I mean?
What was Trump's?
280, 290. I don't remember exactly. I'm telling you, look it up.
Jesus.
Trump, dude.
I believe you.
No, it's three states. 100,000 people in 3 states. That's the reason why Trump is president. I mean, it's crazy. But you think you're going to tell me Joe Biden can't relate to folks? He's from Scranton.
Yeah.
You're going to tell me that Joe Biden can't relate to folks, and they know him. They've known him for years. So that's obviously for me, the biggest thing is let's beat Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get this man out of office. Let's get our sanity back for a few years. Because there's been rumors that Joe said that if he runs, he's only going to serve 1 term. He's old, so he'll say he'll serve 1 term, and then he'll move on. And
that would be crazy.
But that's what we need, isn't it? Don't you think we need something
that is, but it's the most sane thing.
Reset us for just a few years.
That would be like a cold water bath if someone got in and then after 4 years said I think it's time for someone else.
Because think about it. What's Joe going to do? Right? What's Joe going to do? It's probably still going to be a Republican Senate. Okay. So he's not going to get any major legislation done. He's going to be like a caretaker. He's going to be literally like a fucking...
Like a mediator of a fight.
Right. For a few years, he'll pass a few bills and move on, and then we'll go back to fighting like crazy. But at least for a few years. And you'd think, right? And maybe not. Maybe we're so fucking fucked that it won't matter. Joe will get in, and it's the same shit. You know what I mean? And maybe. But I don't know.
It almost seemed... I feel like you could almost get more done as the president if you just went in, and then once you were in, just said, I'm not going for a second term, I'm doing all my changes now.
Right.
And then just said, fuck it, after 4 years. You might actually get a lot more done, because you're not wasting any time. What?
But it's about who controls Congress. Ultimately, that's... And really who controls the Senate, because the House is going to stay Democratic, so...
Really?
It's going to... More than likely. So it's going to be...
I don't know anything about... Yeah.
It's going to be I don't know, man. But that's why I support Joe, and obviously a variety of other reasons. But I think Joe's the most common sense, sane. He understands, common sense. In my opinion. I mean, as compared to Bernie or compared to.
Do you think Bernie could? And by the way, don't let me keep you. I talk forever. If whenever you got to go or whenever you want to go, let me know. Do you think Bernie could have? I personally think that. And I don't like him, but I do think that Bernie could have beat Trump in 2016 if he got the nomination. If Hillary almost did, I think I think Bernie could have.
Well, it's just, I don't know, man. Bernie to me, I don't doubt his sincerity. I don't doubt his beliefs.
Neither do I. I think it comes from a good place.
I actually, right. I think he's one of the few people.
I think it's genuine. I think it's pretty fucking genuine.
Exactly. He really is a good person.
Yeah.
But I think he wants too much too soon for America, right? And
he's old as fuck.
And I'm a Democrat, but when your supporters start talking about how much they hate capitalism, I mean, Jesus Christ, just go back 5 minutes, dude. Are you serious? Really?
At the very least, man, save it till you get into office.
You know what I mean? It's dude,
you're not gonna.
Capitalism fucking works. Obviously,
yeah.
It's created the best fucking country on the planet. Now, that doesn't mean it's perfect.
Not at
That
all.
doesn't
Not
mean
at
that
all.
there should be rules, right of the road, and there should be higher taxes on folks who
Yeah.
do extraordinarily well. That's why I'm a Democrat,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But, Jesus Christ, we do need socialism in America. I mean, and I'm a Democrat.
Yeah, yeah, and no, but that's what's so interesting to hear is
It's crazy to me, dude. It's capitalism with rules works.
100
And
million
I
people
think
died.
We've gone a little too far without the rules. I think we've gone a little too right, too laissez-faire, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm a Democrat. That's why I believe that the folks whose wages have grown 300% over the last 35 years deserve to pay more in taxes because they've obviously benefited more than any other group.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you were going to ask me to pay down on the debt, which, by the way, we're not talking about the total debt, but annual deficits, right? Your annual difference in spending
Mm-hmm.
versus bringing in. The only two times they've dropped in the last 60 years have been under Democratic administrations, by the way.
Bill
And
Clinton.
So,
What was the Bill Clinton?
Bill Clinton in the 90s and Barack Obama.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
I know Clinton did it. I know.
We're talking about the deficits.
Yeah.
That's still growing, obviously, because the debt's the accumulation of all the deficits. But right, when Obama first, and by the way, it's gone right back up with Trump, right? The fiscal conservative, right?
Never comes up on the. I can tell you in a Republican household that never comes up.
That never
comes up.
But you just wait. If Joe Biden gets elected president,
Look at this motherfucker.
That's what just happened, right? But I'm telling you, so when Obama left office, I think the deficit was around $400 billion, which is still an absurd amount of money. During the recession, it was up to almost $1 billion, right? And it was because he needed to.
You mean $1 trillion?
And after 2012, when he got reelected, and he raised taxes on the very wealthy. The deficit dropped down to, I think, from about $700-800 billion to about $4 billion. So he halved. But you never hear that, and I
never heard that.
Democratic presidents, right? And don't believe me, and for anyone watching, I tell everyone this. Don't look it up yourself.
Yeah.
This is the truth.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, no, that's an eye open to me.
Trump's in office, and what happens? You give tax cuts, which add to the deficit, and now our deficit is up to almost $1 billion again. And you don't hear anyone say anything about it to Trump. You don't hear Paul Ryan or Mitt Romney or Rand Paul.
Nope.
You don't hear them. There's silence.
Nope.
Right? So that's why I never want to hear another Republican ever in my lifetime ever give me shit, because the only two times that has ever happened has been under Democrats, right?
Yeah, but you will. You'll hear it till the end of time.
Of course I will. But that's tribalism. I'm being a little tribal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But what I mean, obviously, by saying all this is, and I don't even know the point where I was getting to even begin with. What was I talking about to begin with? What did I talk about the deficits?
What were we talking? Who fucking cares?
I don't know. But I don't know. But
Bernie capitalism.
Oh, Bernie capitalism. Right. The rules of the road. Let's make sure capitalism works. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So Obama was in that mold. Bill Clinton was in that mold. Of Democrats. Who understood this. So Joe Biden's in that mold. I think Elizabeth Warren understands it. I think she's a little too much government, but I think she's reasonable enough. And she used to be a Republican, by the way, back in the 80s. I don't know if you knew that or not, but she was back then.
I didn't.
But Bernie's just a lot, and there's just no way. I mean, capitalism has worked in my life so well, right? And so
it's.
The question is, how do we make sure it reaches as many folks as possible? And that's where, in my opinion, we have to have an active government.
Yeah.
So that people can go to school, whether it's 4-year school or two-year school. If they can't afford it, let's make sure we help them with it. Let's make sure that people who can't afford, a health premium, we help them pay for that too, right? And that was part of the crux of Obamacare, right? Let's make sure that that we finally. In my opinion, this has to do with capitalism. We finally reform the immigration system, and we get these folks out of the shadows, get them paying taxes, get them paying fines, get them back. Which most Americans agree with. By the way.
Yeah.
This isn't a democratic position.
No, it's
American.
Again,
common sense, 21st century position.
Yeah, it's even more. So as a conservative, as someone that loves Trump, I'm gonna vote for Trump. But one thing that makes me stand out on the right is blasphemy. I think we need to find a way to get healthcare to everyone. I do.
I agree.
You can't take that position on the right and But everything else,
Well, because the solution requires more government.
yeah.
It's just the truth. Because here's an instance, for example, where capitalism has failed Americans, right?
Yeah.
So in healthcare, right? For example, I don't know if you know this or not. The majority,
I know
the
everything, Ernie.
The number one cause of bankruptcy in America,
medical bills,
is due to healthcare costs. Okay, now here's the crazy stat: over half of those people who declared bankruptcy had healthcare insurance. So, what is the point of insurance if I can go back? Right?
Why would I even spend money on insurance?
Why do I pay premiums? Why do I go? Why were there before Obamacare caps on the amount of care? I mean, we know why.
Yeah. It's
because obviously they have to be profitable. Because if you're a private business and you don't run a profit, you're just not a business. And so I don't know. And so the solution, right? Then means more government, and that's part of what Obamacare was: more government regulation on the industry. We're eliminating caps. We're letting kids stay on their insurance till later on. We're going to pool everyone together in one pool so that these insurance companies can compete, have some capitalism, some competition that is supposed to bring down the cost, right? And healthcare costs have increased, but not increased as much as they used to. So but that's the solution: is more government, because what we've done is almost no government, and it obviously hasn't worked.
Yeah, but it's interesting hearing it, talking to you, and hopefully anyone that watches this podcast, like two things, you saying, you're like, personally, I don't give a fuck that we spend that much money in the military. You're like, I'm in America, I want us to be in charge, and you going, capitalism is the best thing in the world. Like, for me, it's almost like we've been instilled with this boogeyman view of the other side. Every Republican is this goose stepping fucking supreme, and it doesn't help that I'm white as shit with blue eyes, but it's for me it helps because it's talking, I'm much more open to hearing what you, a Democrat, say now, just from two simple things. You going, yeah, no, I'm cool with the military being fucking huge, and you going, yeah, fucking, what, socialism? No, well, fuck that, capitalism is great. Hearing you say that, all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait. We're a lot more similar. Maybe he's this... But I'm saying, I feel like it must go in the opposite way as well. We... Not every... okay, and you're hearing it from me, a Republican, and I'm going, no, we definitely need national health care.
Right.
And that's blasphemous for me to, but it's hopefully if if we can say things like that and see there is some rationale. Not everything needs to be radical.
Ultimately, to Tommy, it goes back to politics and it goes back to gerrymandering. Because again, if these
and perpetual campaigning,
if you had 50-50 Democrat Republicans and you were to sit down and have a debate, you're going to want to elect a candidate who represents both these views, right? Because it makes sense, right? And this is kind of the district I'm in now is Georgia 6, Roswell, right? That's where I live, and this district just voted for the first time for a Democrat, Lucy McBath over Karen Handel. First time in this used to be Newt Gingrich's district. This is where Newt Gingrich is from. Okay,
really?
So yeah. So, this is the Speaker of the House, right? A conservative firebrand in the 90s, right? And now it's voting for Democrats in 2020, which is insane, right? This is the district, these are the districts America needs all over the country. But instead, it's got districts like Peachtree City, like Athens, like Atlanta. And maybe Atlanta's a little different. Atlanta's mostly liberal, but the Southern District, and there's another Democratic district. Because again, it goes back to the same thing. Politicians respond to what their voters need, or that's the theory, right? Mm-hmm. And so if your district is 50-50, you're going to want to be a 50-50 kind of guy. But if your district is 70-30 Republican or 70-30 Democrat, then you only care about your base. That's what you need to get elected.
Yeah.
And so again, you're right. What good would it make a Democrat in a 70-30 district and saying, or let's say a Republican in a 70-30 district saying, we need more government, in the healthcare? Maybe you don't believe in, a full NHI kind of stuff, but, you want a little more.
Yeah.
What good's it going to do to you in a 70-30 district? People are going to go, you're fucking crazy.
Some other candidate's going to smell blood.
Exactly.
They're going to go, this guy.
And those are the incentives. right?
Yeah,
and
so
that's what's so sad. But dude, I'm telling you, most people, it's just social media, and I think the news portrays folks in a way. Now, that's not to say that Democrats haven't gone further left. They absolutely have. I mean, I think it's. I mean, when you look, I'm an immigrant. Okay, I was born in another fucking country. Okay?
Yeah.
But when you have people who are running for president saying that, you know, that there should be no immigration laws, that there should be no, like, that you can just cross up, like, what? Are you fucking stupid? I immigrated here. I know how this works, dude.
Yeah.
You can't just let everyone in. That's not how this works. Like, that is just the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. And I'm a Democrat. You know what I mean? But you just sit back and you go, do people really believe this? Like, that I assume, like, do people seriously, like...
That's what makes people like me who are, you know, maybe tiptoeing across the aisle and going, hey, maybe we should have some national health care. When people say no borders, let everyone in, that's immediately going to make people like me who are willing to go across, clench your butthole and go, well, we can't have national... If you let everyone in...
Well, I mean,
you literally can't. If you want a bar,
country,
exactly. You know, it's you know what I mean. I mean, it's like a frat party. Sorry, a frat party's alcohol works. You don't have to pay for alcohol at the party because every brother paid for everything there, and you can't get in unless you know someone. But we're all there. That works. You can't have an open bar and then just go, yeah, anyone on campus can come. Well, because everyone's and I've done it. You just at UGA, you just walk in, get hammered for free, and then go downtown. Fuck you.
Right.
That doesn't work. But if you're willing to go, hey, no, not everyone can come in. We do need a really strong border. If you're willing to do that and account for everyone in the country, well, then you're going to get people like me who are pretty far right who are going to go, wait, so we're set on who's here and who's not. Yeah. Okay, well then let's work on a healthcare thing.
Yeah, that's right. By the way, I tell everyone this, and no one believes me. I resent being called a liberal because I am not a liberal. I don't think I'm a liberal. I really don't.
Yeah.
To me, a liberal is someone who
blue
actually
hair.
wants, right? Or never mind, I'm just kidding.
Go on.
But to me, a liberal, in the classic sense of the word, to me, is someone like Bernie Sanders. And I would not vote for Bernie Sanders. It would be very hard for me to vote for Bernie Sanders for president. Yeah. I'll be very honest with you. I think I wouldn't vote, to be honest with you, if he was the nominee. But to me, that's a liberal, right? I don't consider myself a liberal because, again, I like...
You're for a military budget, you're for a strong America, you're for capitalism.
I understand capitalism works. I
Immigration.
understand businesses make this country run, and so you've got to make sure that there is a fair corporate climate. You got to make sure that there's
a competitive climate.
You need an educated workforce to make sure that, you know what I mean. And so I am a Democrat, but I consider myself a moderate.
Yeah.
I think
it's
just I think people see me post something about Obama and praising Democrats all the time.
No, I'm guilty. No, my perception of you has been completely altered. But yeah, in that light, I would say then I'm a Republican, not a conservative, because I'm for fucking national health care. Like
which, by the way, I'm not. I don't think we should have NHI.
No. I don't mean. I take that back. I don't think it should be. I will specify that. I don't think it should just. No, I don't think it should be. What I meant was. Okay, I meant it can't be what it is now because it's just it does not work. You can't go to the. I'm sorry, but the antibiotics you need here and the antibiotics you need in Britain are the same fucking drugs. We have 99.98% the same genome, all humans. Okay, if they can get it for $4, but we can only get it for $4,500, that's not working. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. That is not working. It is not working.
The one time I'll agree with Bernie Sanders on anything, it's corporate greed. That's all it is.
Yeah,
it's literally corporations.
Like that is not working.
They can charge it because they know there's no laws, there's no rules against it, and if you can do it, you're gonna do it.
Yeah, that's
just the way the world works.
Yeah, it's.
No, I like Joe's idea. I think I like Joe Biden's a lot. I think you keep what you have. I mean, because you think about it. There are 180 million people who have healthcare insurance. They're not right. They're not, and some of them may, some of them won't. But if you think about wanting to disrupt 180 million, I mean, that would just. Remember Obamacare? How big of a nonsense that was when the first rollout happened. And
Yeah.
imagine, I mean, you know what I mean? It's just way too much. So I like Joe's idea, which is expand Medicare for everyone. Let it literally, if people want to sign up, just make everyone eligible for Medicare.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's the best option, people will flock.
Yeah.
That's what people want. That's what people will do.
Yeah. And
That
if it's not, they won't.
That doesn't ruin the system. That doesn't overburden the system. That doesn't, it's going to cost some more money. Sure, we're going to have to find ways to find revenue, but that is an option. You're giving people options to either stick with what they got
What?
or go with Medicare. And I think, and again, it's something we already know how to do. It works well. The administrative costs are lower. People are satisfied with Medicare, so just expand it.
What if someone came out and said, some candidate came out and they said, no illegal immigration, but you get to keep your guns. Legalize all drugs. Also make Medicare available to everyone. Cut corporate tax rate in half or something. What would happen if just a thought experiment? What would happen if someone literally took? I just took.
There kind of is though. Like Michael Bloomberg's kind of that way.
Is he pro-gun? What I'm saying, what if you literally had someone?
That is he's anti.
Well, there you go. That's right off. You're an antichrist on the side of the right. So what I'm saying is, what if you literally just took the biggest, not the things you hate, but take the biggest things you're for on each side, and just you can keep your guns. You can also,
What would they run as?
Fucking themselves.
They have to be a millionaire.
They run like a Ross Perot character. Yeah,
it's the only way it would work.
Maybe that's what you have to do. Is maybe you have to accumulate $1 billion and then come in and
just get rich as shit. That's what I mean. Capitalism fucking works, dude.
If an Elon Musk character ran, he would do that shit.
Yeah, or like a Mark Zuckerberg. These guys, dude. But here's the thing: these guys don't. I don't know.
Maybe once they get to that point of wealth, they're like, "What the fuck do I care?"
Elon Musk could be smart. Yeah, you're probably right because they have everything they need personally for them.
I think Elon Musk is taking the smartest way. He's going, "This whole thing's fucked. I'm going to another planet."
Elon Musk is crazy.
I love him. I'm a cult member. But yeah, it's. One thing. So I bring up with healthcare is like. So you cannot be turned down for an emergency room. You can pose that question to the most conservative Republican person in the world. You're going to say, do you think that you should be able to be turned? No one says yes. No one says that, yeah, you should be able to be turned down from. No one does. I don't care how far right you are. And I can tell you that from my most far right family members, aunts, uncles, cousins. Should you be able to be turned down from? No one says that because they're just like, wait, if you're going to an emergency room, dude, shit's not so hot for you.
Right.
Whether you have a flu, a broken bone, or you just got in a car accident. So it is illegal to be turned down from an emergency room in the United States. Seeing as how that's the case, so you can get care no matter what, even if you just, you have a broken finger, whatever. Do we not want to find a way to pay for that to make it work better? Do you not find a way to get everyone insurance? That's the argument I bring up for everyone needing insurance.
You sound like a Democrat.
Yeah.
That's what I've been saying
yeah.
for 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, no, but it's true. Look, we already have universal health care coming.
Yeah.
The government.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We already have it. So why don't we find a fucking way to get there quicker with less money?
The government sends the hospitals billions of dollars a year in care that they never got paid back for.
Yeah, e-costs.
Because of uninsured people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you were used to working and stuff. So
yeah, but the hospitals would close if they didn't. Why the fuck would they run? Why would they operate?
Exactly. So it's already a thing.
It's already all happening. So why not?
Isn't that funny though, dude? That's exactly what Obamacare was designed to do.
I know.
To put it back on the individual.
Yeah.
To say, listen, now you have to by law have insurance because if you don't, we're already paying for you. This is the only. This is the funny thing, right? Do you remember when Obamacare? I mean, we were in college, right? And everyone said, "Oh, it's socialism. Oh, it's government takeover. Oh, it's look at what Obama." And that's part of the reason why they won so big in 2010, right?
Yeah.
For the Tea Party and all that stuff. But dude, it was the only way to make it work in a market-friendly capitalist way.
I vividly remember supporting that argument a couple months before my med school interviews because I brought that up. I was like, they already get paid. So, I volunteered at Athens General Hospital for my resume. You would see people come in there all the time come to the emergency room, and literally gunshot, car accident, motorcycle accident, and they'd go in there and they'd get world-class care. All the surgeons come in, you get everything, but they can't pay it. But I remember one of my friends wrote it in his like personal statement. He was like, at a hospital, he was like, it doesn't matter if you have insurance or not. Like, everyone's the same, saints and sinners. And he's like, and as well as it should be. But that's an argument I brought up, was like, and again, this was even though I had just voted for Romney at that point, but I literally remember sitting on a couch in downtown Athens talking to someone, and I was saying, like, hey, like, as a conservative, as a Republican, this is what, do you think that you should be able to be turned down in emergency rooms? No. Okay, well then we already have national health care. You cannot be turned down.
Because
they already get paid.
It's a morality.
Yeah, exactly.
It's literally like, are you going to let people die?
Well, and for me, and I was saying, and here I am studying nonstop in college to be a doctor. I wouldn't become a doctor if I thought I wasn't going to make money. So clearly the hospitals are going to get reimbursed. No one's going to go to fucking 4 years of medical school and pay $250,000 if they think they're not going to get reimbursed.
Exactly.
So like you said, they get paid for all the bills they have to eat. So we've already established that as a thing.
So that was the point of Obamacare.
Yeah.
After all the criticism you heard, and everyone called him this socialist and this communist and the takeover, here's the basic crux of Obamacare.
You have to buy auto insurance.
Was three things. It was really three things. Everyone has to have health care. Why? Because if only the people who are sick get health care, that is going to be way too expensive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If it's going to cost an insurance company $1 billion to insure 300 people, but think about it. Now, if I get all these young people who I know are going to pay premiums who are healthy or who are not going to get sick, they offset this older, sicker group. So as an average, I can then charge everyone, wow, what do you know?
Yeah.
Capitalism.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
right, but it's government takeover, Tommy.
It's
right. So it's right. Number one, that was right. Everyone has it in the individual market. Then you pool people together, so that's economics. So that hopefully it brings the cost down. Secondly, you are then going to give government assistance to those who cannot pay for it themselves. So if you make between this and this, they had a formula, you qualify, we'll pay this much for you have the rest. But sometimes people didn't qualify, or sometimes you qualify, but you still had to pay $90 or $80 or a couple $100. And lastly, thirdly, was a reform of the insurance industry. No more lifetime caps on care anymore. That is illegal, right?
Yeah.
The fact that you can that there's no pre-existing conditions anymore, right? That is illegal. The fact that kids can stay on their parents' insurance until they're 26. That's Obamacare. Those are the three main cruxes. But if you listen to Fox News, the sky's falling.
Yeah.
Socialism is here.
Yeah.
It's knocking on your door.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Yeah. It's getting the bread lines. Getting the bread lines.
Isn't that crazy, man?
It is, dude.
Dude, I've gotten in so many arguments with people, and I ask people, and they go, Obamacare. I'm like, explain to me what Obama. Just please.
Yeah.
And, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, what are you criticizing?
Yeah. It's
at least you look into it, right?
Yeah.
And so Obamacare was a right step, but it wasn't the end all be all, because a lot of people are still hurting. The government subsidies are still small. The marketplaces haven't been as successful because of a variety of different questions. But again, if it's not successful, that's capitalism failing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If these companies want to get into business because they're going to lose money, that's not on Obama. That's not on Bush. That's not on whoever.
Yeah.
That's just the market.
Yeah.
That's just reality.
Yeah.
And so again, if it doesn't work, or if it starts failing, or if people are still going bankrupt, and people are still having issues, and people are still underinsured, then there needs to be another option, and government should guarantee it. But
the thing is that but I always use this as just cut down to the bottom argument. What it comes down to is, should people be able to be turned down from emergency rooms? Yes or no? Right, unless you're a psychopath, the answer is universally no. Okay, so we've already established that. So you got to move forward from there. Right. Now, if you just want to come balls out and say, yeah, you should be able to be turned down and die off, bold move, man. But hey, okay, well, at least I get where you're coming from. You genuinely don't want people to have healthcare. Well, at least I'd respect your honesty.
Kind of an anarchist.
Yeah, you're kind of a psychopath, but yeah, man, it's. Yeah, man. It's I don't know. It's and that's the debate that's really
tearing America apart over the last 10 years. Healthcare.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just so crazy, man.
Yeah, and it's...
I mean, again, Obama could have easily fought for a public option. He could have easily... Democrats were hating on him because he didn't do enough, on the left. He didn't do enough to get government regulation and do this. But it is such... The fact that it was passed, and it is such a difficult, and there's so many competing interests, and again, we don't know the fix. I mean, when I was in D.C., there was this guy who literally, he was working in Congress. He said, dude, we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. But we had to do something.
Yeah.
We had to pass something.
Yeah.
We had to get it going because the status quo just is not working.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just not.
Yeah. It's...
And I think everyone can see that. I mean, you don't need to be... anyone who has experienced the healthcare system, who has actually had to sit down...
Not even that, has just gone to the hospital and got a bill.
Understands how ridiculous it is.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure you saw the video. There was a video just a few weeks ago about they were interviewing people in England. They were like, hey, how much do you think costs in America? They were like, how do people afford that? Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it doesn't... Not until you go, then you're like, oh, okay, that doesn't work. So and let's say you do want to break it down into just pure, cold numbers and just, throw out the human element. That is where I still think it is beneficial for everyone to have healthcare. So let's say you really want to just go pure psychopath and just look at everyone as cogs in the machine and it produces money for the overall organism that is America. If you've already had people go to public school, ride on American roads, and be protected by the American military, just simply making it to the age of 18, you've already subsidized this cog in the machine. Again, looking at this purely as a psychopath. You don't want those cogs dying. You don't want the cogs breaking down. It is in your interest, even for purely money making, to have them taken care of. Because if they don't and they die, well, there's just another worker you lost. So even if you literally want to step back and look at it as a detached, disassociated psychopath and be like, they're all nothing but cogs in the machine, even from that standpoint, it still makes sense. Another
reason, Tommy, you're making the exact point as to why education and post-high school education should be, if not free, heavily subsidized. Because you're exactly right. In today's world, for most decent jobs, you just need a college degree. You just do.
Yeah, you just have to.
Now, right now, there are plenty of good jobs that pay well that you don't need college degrees for. That's true.
Technical schools,
right, technical schools. That's very true, and the college isn't for everyone, but
pornography.
But you should never. But you should never be dissuaded, right?
Yeah.
From doing all this. So tell me, my buddy just got here.
Yeah. Ernie, it was a fucking...
Dude.
What?
So good talking to you.
Yeah, dude, you too, man. It was a fucking pleasure. I'll tell you when I upload this. I'll give you a link.
Call me whenever. Where are you living?
I'm with my parents in Maryland. I'm taking all... I'm taking all... Yeah, my little brother lives in D.C. I'm taking online graphic design courses, trying to... Back to the... my designs are good, and I've had companies tell me my designs are good, but they said, hey, you got to get a degree. So, that's literally what I'm doing. Your point,
There we go, man.
Yeah, dude.
So... Oh shit! I was gonna say let's chill, but obviously you're.
Yeah, I'm not there.
Well,
yeah,
dude, hit me up. My girlfriend and I just broke up recently.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I got a lot of free time.
Hey man, I got
apartment for two by myself.
Hey man, I got dumped 2.5 years ago. I got plenty of time.
I got dumped too. So.
Yeah. Hey man. Hey.
I hear you, man.
I feel you. I feel the pain. I feel it passes eventually. I hope.
Well, we're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. All right.
We'll see. Hopefully.
Well, hey,
either way.
Hey, Ernie, let's. I think the takeaway message we have from this is, hey man, just practice love. Just practice love.
Yeah,
it's the only thing that's going to work out.
Just love. Just know that whether you're a Democrat, whether you're a Republican, whether you're an independent, whether you're an anarchist, your worth is so much more.
You're worth. You are. Yeah, you are.
You are an American. You're a human being.
Yeah, you're alive. You're aware. You can feel.
Exactly. Ultimately, who cares what you believe politically? Ultimately, just fucking love one another.
And never forget. And never forget. You're all gonna fucking die.
Yeah,
we all are. We all are. We're done. We're done.
Let's just enjoy what we can.
All right, Ernie. I love you, buddy. Thanks for doing this.
All right, brother.
Later, buddy.
Bye.